So let's go ahead and get started. So welcome to your short yoga practice. My name is Dominique. I'm so excited to have you here. So lightweight, no more than 3 pounds, or and a blanket, maybe. It's gonna be up to you. It depends if you need some cushion for your knees. So let's go ahead and get started. So we're gonna come into a kneeling position onto your blanket here. Now, if kneeling isn't comfortable, you can sit cross-legged on the floor. The transitions just happen a little bit more smoothly when you are, hi Carol, nice to see you. What was I saying? Oh yeah, so if you can't be on your knees, you can definitely be seated cross-legged. It just works a little better for some of the transitions to be in a kneeling position. So let's go ahead and get started. So we're gonna hold this lighter weight in your right hand. And then from here, we're gonna take a breath in, reaching the arm overhead, and then try to really stretch out through the right side of the body. And then allow the weight to come back down. Okay? So breathing in and lifting. Exhale, releasing. Now, you can move at your own natural rate and rhythm here. Maybe you have shorter breaths than I do. Maybe you have longer breaths than I do. But if we don't happen to be moving at exactly the same pace, that's okay. Maybe you'd like to add a little pause overhead and get a sense of that weight overhead. Continuing to try to stretch out a little bit down the right side of the body. Breathing in and reaching. Breathing out and releasing. This time as we come overhead, we're gonna move into a side lean. So we're gonna bring the left hand to floor and start to reach the weight over as far as you can. And then bring yourself back upright, returning the weight back down to the floor. So again, we're breathing in and reaching. Maybe an exhale as you lean over, pause, breathe in. So we can use the exhale to help lift you back upright. And this is actually a wonderful opportunity to incorporate the 360-degree breathing that we practiced in our tips last week. Now, once again, you can keep moving in this way, just this forward and back motion, or we can start adding a little bit of a pause. So once again, we're gonna lift up, we're gonna lean over. This time you can bend the elbow if you'd like. Maybe that will bring in a deeper stretch. And maybe you do it and you just don't like it. So you have that option of sticking with that previous option if you'd like. Let's go one more time. Perfect. From here, bring the weight up to your chest. We're gonna bring ourselves up to tall kneeling and then step your right leg forward. Then from here, we're gonna start to bring our weight forward into that forward leg, so you might get a big stretch through the calves, the ankles. And then we're gonna start to sit back and straighten out that forward leg into a hamstring stretch, okay? So once again, we're coming forward and coming back. And you can sit the hips back as you come into the hamstring stretch, as low as you'd like, or as high as you'd like, whatever feels comfortable for you. Remember, we're all starting from a different place. We all have a different journey to go on. Choose the option that suits you best. All right, let's go a couple more times here. One more. And then after your hamstring stretch, we're gonna return back into that low lunge. From here, right leg goes out to the side, pressing strongly into the outside edge of the foot, and the weight comes overhead once again. And then we're gonna start to descend the hand down towards the floor. And once again, we're gonna reach overhead, reaching back to the starting position, and then lifting ourselves back up. So there's a lot of stretching happening here, a lot of core work. I recommend inhaling on the way down and then using the exhale to engage the core so you have a little support as you rise back up. One more time. Perfect. From here, we're going to return back into that lunge position and use this position to stand up. So coming to standing, we can tuck our back toes, lift ourselves up, step in. You can move the blanket out of your way if you'd like. Actually, I'm going to do that. I was going to not do it for convenience, but I'm going to do it. Stepping towards the top of your mat, feet about hip distance apart, so we're still holding the weight in the right hand. And the right leg steps straight back. So we want to keep the feet nice and wide, so we're very, very balanced. The heel is down, and the toes are a bit on an angle from here, okay? Once again, we're going to bring the weight overhead. You can do this through a bicep curl, pressing the weight overhead. And then we're going to take our left hand, start to slide it down the leg. As we slide down, bring your eye gaze to the weight, and then push back up to standing, and we're going to turn the body to face the front of the mat. So again, we're coming down. Exhale and rise, and add that little twist to the side at the front. So once again, connecting with our 360-degree breathing, allowing the length to really be the focus of the torso as you come down. It doesn't matter how low you go, it's all about the length here. Let's go one more time. Perfect. From here, you can bring the weight to the shoulder if you'd like for just a little bit of a break. And then we're going to lift the back heel and pivot. So now all 10 toes are facing the same direction. The weight is going to come down. And we're going to hinge from the place where our pants crease, trying to keep the spine nice and long. And then come back up. Coming down. And back up. So having this back heel lifted may feel like a little bit of trouble when it comes to the balance, so you can always place the heel back down if you'd like. Option to stay with this type of hinge or to come down. We're going to rotate the body open, reaching the arm, circling it back into that triangle shape that we had just visited. Okay? From here, we're going to reach the weight back a little bit. Then bring the weight in line with the ear. So as the weight moves around, you might start to notice it feels different. It might feel a little bit heavier here and there. And then we're going to bring it all the way down as we rotate through the torso and come all the way back up. Okay? Let's do that again. Hinging forward from the place where the pants crease. Starting to circle the arm overhead. We're going to reach into that straight up to the ceiling position. Give it a little bit of a reach back. And start to bring the weight. It's kind of overhead, I guess. Arm by your ear. Hold. Retrace your steps back down into the bottom of your hinge and rise back up. Let's try that 2 more times. And again, you can pause for a little bit longer in these movements. You can choose to come out of them a little bit sooner. So a little pull back. Then arm reaching in line with the ear. Hold. Finish that journey back down. And then rising back up. One more time. You might start to notice maybe you're getting a little bit short of breath. Maybe the heart is racing a little bit. Typically, the longer we hold a weight overhead, regardless of how heavy it is, the higher the heart rate. Arm reaches overhead. Finish your journey back down. And rising back up. Perfect. And from here, we're going to repeat the entire thing on the other side. So I'm going to replace the blanket back on the floor. So now you have an idea of where we're going. As you come back down, perhaps taking a moment and just observing how one side of the body feels compared to the other. Having these check-in points is so, so important just to sort of feel the work that we're doing. Otherwise, you might be going, why am I even doing this? It doesn't feel so good, or maybe, just the question of why? This here, this moment where you can feel the difference from one side of the body to the other can be the key to showing you exactly how that feels. So we're going to pick up our weight, this time in the left hand, and we're going to start with that reach overhead. Exhale back down. Remembering we're once again focusing on lengthening, this time down the left side of the body. So as you reach overhead, maybe you take a pause and just try to reach the hand a little bit higher to the sky, bringing in that sensation of stretch and length all the way down the torso. Perhaps checking in with yourself from an emotional standpoint for a moment. And now that you have an idea of where this is going, is there a feeling of comfort that comes with that? Is there a particular movement that maybe you're not looking forward to doing? And are there adjustments to the range of motion that you can do in its place? All right, so once again, you can stay with that straight reaching overhead exactly as it is, or we can start to come into that side lean. And then bringing ourselves back up. And this is where the breath becomes important. Oftentimes, it's ideal to place the exhale in the most challenging part of the movement or the movement that creates a contraction. So yes, we have the stretch as we come over, and there's feeling with that, but it's a squeezing of the side of the abdominals that brings us back to an upright position. Option, to hold, bend the elbow, maybe it brings a deeper sense of stretch, and then coming all the way back up. And I will say, with that hold and that bend of the elbow, for me, my experience in it, is it feels harder. And it really makes sense because it is very challenging when you first start doing any kind of work where we're going from a stretched out muscle and we're trying to contract that muscle from a stretched out position. That's why things like deadlifts are so incredible in terms of an exercise. All right, let's go one more time. Perfect. Weight comes forward. We're going to come up into that tall kneeling position. This time it is your left leg that comes forward into a lunge. So be mindful of your range of motion. Maybe you just come over a tiny bit, and maybe you just shift back enough so the leg goes long. Okay? And really go for a feeling. Instead of trying to strike a pose or make something look really fancy by going as deep as you possibly can in both directions, maybe it's actually staying higher that brings a sensation of stretch into the hamstring and stretch into the calf and the ankle. Now, as you come forward, the heel can certainly lift off the floor. But one of my goals with this was to stretch the ankle and the calf. So I want to keep it down to bring that stretch in. Let's go one more time in each direction. So glad you love that stretch. And I love that kind of feedback because it really helps me put the class together. The wheels are already spinning for what's next. So left leg comes out to the side, pressing into the outside edge of the foot. The weight comes up to the sky. Hand slowly starts to come down to the floor. And then once again, we're going to reach overhead, taking the weight straight up to the sky and engage to lift ourselves back up. So there is a level of strength in both directions, especially if we're controlling ourselves on the way down and trying to land the hand lightly on the floor. One more. Come on up. Ooh. Then the leg comes forward again, so that's the left leg. And then from here, oops, we're gonna make our way all the way up to standing. Okay? So if you need to, move the blanket once again out of the way. And this time, I'm gonna step to the foot of my mat, so the opposite side of my mat that we were before. Still holding the weight in the left hand. Feet hip distance apart, and then step your left leg straight back. Heel down, toes angled in. So this is essentially a setup for warrior one. Hips and chest are facing more towards the direction of your forward toes, but we're gonna open this one up. And this might require a little bit of adjustment through the back foot. Then we're going to bring the weight overhead, and then take your right hand, slide it down the leg, allow your eyes to shift to the weight, and then press yourself back up to a standing position. Inhaling down, exhaling up. Try to relax through the jaw. Connect with your 360-degree breathing pattern. Almost there. One more. Perfect. So weight comes down to shoulder. You can lift the back heel, pivot so all 10 toes are facing forward, release the weight down, and hinge from the hip, trying to keep the spine nice and long as you come down, and you rise back up. So again, it might feel a little bit wobbly. Trust that in the wobbles, your body is navigating how to keep yourself balanced. It's making you stronger. But there's always the option to place the heel down. So this next add-on is definitely easier with the heel down. So we're gonna come forward, hold, start to circle the arm overhead, bringing it into that ceiling position. Reach back a little bit. Bring the weight overhead, hold, and then retrace your steps all the way back down, rising back up. So if you're really hesitant to do any kind of holding, you can definitely eliminate those holds. But again, it just builds a different kind of strength. All right, we have one more left, just one more left. Almost there. Standing all the way back up. Nicely done. Step everything in. Alrighty, so that is it for today, my friend. That is your yoga practice for the upcoming month. So take what you can from it. Continue playing around with your 360-degree breathing. And I always recommend to finish off any kind of exercise, whether it's yoga or movement practice, with a meditation. And there is a meditation currently available under the guided meditation section. So go ahead and do that just to calm the nervous system, because whenever we do anything that challenges the body, we do move the body into a stress response. And it's always important to just calm down when we're done. So thank you so much. Thank you for those of you who are live. Feel free to post down below in the comments section what you thought of this practice, what you loved, what you didn't love so much. As always, this helps inform the practices that I bring to you in the future. So until next time, thank you so much for being here, and I'll talk to you very soon. Bye.